Hello and welcome back. Today we're bringing the magic of the fair to your kitchen with a recipe for classic fair-style fried dough. It's crispy, fluffy, and guaranteed to take your taste buds on a nostalgic ride. Now it's time to roll up our sleeves and make some magic. First up, we're going to need about 2 cups of cooking oil. I'm using canola, but you can use vegetable as well. Let's go ahead and put that in a pan and preheat it to 375. To get started, we will be using 2 cups of unbleached all-purpose flour. I'm using King Arthur here, but you can use any brand that you like. Next, you will need 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. I'm using pink Himalayan salt here. You can use any that you like. Then, you will need 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And finally, you'll need 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. For your toppings, you'll want some powdered sugar or cinnamon and sugar mix, which I have both here. Now that we have all our ingredients, we will need a way to mix them up. I will be using this pastry mixer here with a dough hook attachment, but you can just use a bowl and a spoon to mix if you don't have a mixer. I will be using this stainless steel frying pan to cook my dough in. You can use an electric fryer if you have one. I do not, so I will use this pan. And finally, we will need a way to measure all our ingredients. I'll be using these 2 measuring cups and also some measuring spoons. I also have a rolling pin that I did not include here that I'll be using, but you do not need it. Once you've measured out all your dry ingredients, go ahead and add them to your bowl and mix them thoroughly. Now that you have all your dry ingredients mixed, you'll want to add the butter in. You can see that I have it cubed so that it mixes in easier and more thoroughly. Just a side note, the butter has been out of the fridge for about 15 minutes prior to mixing in, just to soften it up a touch. You will want the butter to be cool when you add it in for better results. And finally, you will need to add in a 3/4 of a cup lukewarm water and mix until you have your dough. After it's all mixed, go ahead and cover it up and let it sit for 15 minutes. I'm using saran wrap here. You can cover it with aluminum foil or whatever you have available. Don't forget to keep an eye on your oil to make sure that it's coming up to the desired temperature. After your dough has sat for about 15 to 20 minutes, you will want to knead it by hand just a little bit. Go ahead and make sure it's not sticking to your hand, and it will be ready to go. Now go ahead and break your dough up into equal pieces. You can choose to do 6 for slightly larger or 8 like I do here for slightly smaller pieces. Now go ahead and roll these out into about 5 inches in diameter or so. They don't need to be perfectly round. Now it's time for the fun part. Let's get cooking here. Go ahead and drop a piece of your dough into the oil. Make sure your oil is hot enough. I will show you here in just a second what you get when the oil is not hot enough. You can see me poking holes in the batter right there, let out some of the air. This is because my oil still is not hot enough, but it's getting close to the temperature that I need it. And I still get perfect results. Look at that, it's nice and golden brown. Watch as it comes out, and perfect. And as promised, here we are with the one that is in the oil that is not hot enough. Look at this thing blowing up like a balloon. I end up having to poke a hole in it with my tongs and force the air out. But don't worry, if this happens to you, just do the same as I did here, but be careful when you're pushing down on this thing that oil doesn't go flying everywhere. That would not be good. And it just so happens that it worked out perfectly for me here. And just make sure that oil is at the right operating temperature. I was impatient and started frying before we were up to 375 degrees. And now that they're all cooked, go ahead and add your toppings. I go ahead and add cinnamon and sugar to 3 of them here. I have already eaten one of these before they got done because I am impatient. I went ahead and added powdered sugar to the remaining 4 and shared them with my family, who absolutely love these things every time I cook them. I hope that this recipe was something that you enjoyed, and I hope you like it. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section below and let me know what you think of these little beautiful golden brown nostalgic pieces of your childhood. Thank you.